welcome back to Four Corners of the Galley. I'm your host PBO, and you're joining me on another edition of Atlanta Robbin season. We're all the way up to episode 9, North of the Border. So come join me on the misguided adventures of Earn, who puts together a certain set of events that causes this wild, crazy night that the four guys have to deal with. And it's one of the great episodes of the season, I must say. So let's kick this sucker off. So we meet up with the guys, and Paperboy's packing. Earn's trying to talk to him. And we find out basically that Earn has booked Paperboy for a pajama jam, old school 90s pajama jam. Gives me a little bit of a TLC creep and a little house party too, which I'll get to in a little bit, which I'm feeling from this episode, kind of taking to another level. And he's going to do a show up at Statesboro, but there's a kind of a catch to this thing. He's going for free. So Earn's kind of running this hustle at this point. So Earn has set up an event for Paperboy to perform at a college up at Statesboro, but this event he's not getting paid for it. And basically Earn is trying to convince Paperboy that if he does this, that next year the big spring fling will be his, and then that's the big event where he gets $60K per show. So he's trying to sell him on the idea of doing one for them, and then bam, you'll get paid fat next year. So he's like, all right, so he's down with it. He's unwillingly doing it, but he's rolling with Earn because Earn is his manager, but Earn's still been messing up this whole season, and this is something that Earn has finally set up. So he goes, okay, where are we staying at? So he's like, no, we're not staying in a hotel. So that's another part of the hustle. At the same time, all this is going on, up pops out of nowhere is Tracy. And Tracy pops out of nowhere and is like, where y'all going? And Earn's trying to convince him that he's not going nowhere. And then this is when Paperboy tells him that they're going to Statesboro to do this concert. And that's when Tracy goes, oh, I just need a room and I'm good. And that's when Earn pops out and says, we don't have a room. So Earn's trying to run a hustle where they were going to pay for his hotel room. So he's trying to pocket the money that the college was going to pay for their hotel room. And he wants to stay with actually the girl that's promoting this whole thing and her roommates. So he goes, what? So he tosses the phone over to Paperboy, and on the phone is this girl, very pretty light-skinned black girl in Georgia. And, and he's like, all right, well, what's wrong with her? And she's like, well, Darius has this great theory about social media. He goes, well, the thing about it is, he goes, these females that have over 3,000 views on Instagram really have like a misguided view on life because they've basically been spoiled their whole life and been given stuff, and everyone tells them they're gorgeous. And he goes, well, she only has 300. And Terry's got a great line. That's even a little weirder. And I will admit, for somebody young in their 20s at the peak of social media, for her to only have 300 followers, and yet she is the main promoter and the person putting on this entire pajama jam, she would have thousands upon thousands of followers because she'd be one of the ends of the college. I admit that's a little weird too. So they're just like, they kind of just get this thing, and at the same time, Earn's trying to convince Tracy not to come, and basically Paperboy goes over him and says that I hired you for security for $200, and Earn has to deal with him. So they go and load up in the car, and right when they get on the road, Tracy's already taken this security to another level. He's gone straight up like Liam Neeson from Taken. And they're driving the car. Out of nowhere, he just pops and goes, I think we're being followed. Then looks back and goes, oh, never mind. Like, he's straight up Secret Service and just another level. So Tracy's already bringing the fun of this episode, and it's already getting to Earn, so you know that's already a little battle, along with the fact that Paperboy is just pissed off that he's doing this show for free. So they drive up to this, basically, I don't know where they're going to, where this college is set up, but it's outside of Atlanta and somewhere deep into Georgia, obviously going north of the border, so I always thought that was funny. And they roll up to it, and they roll up to these dorms, but they look like straight up projects. I'm not going to lie. They look like projects from LA, projects I've seen in the Bay, projects I've seen all over. They look like projects. They look like project dorms. So it looks nasty. There's a bunch of weird people hanging around. They just pull up, they kind of walk in, and we meet Violet. And Violet is the main girl that runs it, and she has two roommates actually, Erica and Honey. Basically, two of them are going to stay in, I think it's Erica's room. And since Tracy's a tag-along, they tell him he's going to have to stay outside. And Violet tells Paperboy, you going to come with me. And he's like, oh, for real? All right. So already this is kind of working out, and Earn's plan seems to be working out to the advantage. Tracy's even got a joke, hey, bro, you need any help in there? He's like, nah, man, I'm good. You sure? He's like, I'm good. So Violet takes Paperboy back to her room. They leave everybody else alone, and you go into this room. Before they get there, obviously Tracy's still being Mr. Security, and he's asking if there's any cameras. You guys got cameras anywhere? He's being full blown like Secret Service at this point. Everyone's like, be quiet. So they're already having their back and forth. So Violet takes Paperboy back into this room, and this room is like big time Pepto-Bismol all over the place. I'm talking big, bright fuchsia pink everywhere, looking just loud. He's already uncomfortable. He tries to go sit down. She tells him to come over to him. She's like, isn't this nice? And then they kind of lay back, and she starts to tell him about this crazy dream that she has. Basically, that he's some white crane and she's a crocodile. And it instantly got me thinking of like the Scorpion and the Frog, where he's coming in as the frog, and the Scorpion tells him, don't worry, come here, just right on my back, I'll take you to safety. But when the Scorpion goes to take the frog to safety, he ends up killing him and eating him, and this is exactly what she says. She says, oh, we were cuddling and you were a beautiful white crane, and then I ate you. Like the same deal, just using two different things, and like a metaphor for what she's gonna do later. She's inviting him into her place, and she's giving him the security and making him feel okay, but coming up, she's gonna bite him and eat him alive. So he's freaking out, and then out of nowhere, you get this random shot where you're in a crazy place where there's a footprint on the ceiling. That was definitely great. Just a full-size footprint of a foot on the ceiling. No, nothing to it. Just, that looks normal. So, we meet back up with the guys, and it's after the event, and they look straight up like TLC. You got Darius, Paperboy, and Ern all in like silk pajamas. I think it's blue, burgundy, and I think it's something, I forgot what the other color was, what Earl was wearing, but they just look hilarious. And Tracy's in all black. He's like, low budget security, but looking all crazy and hard. And they're just after the concert, they're just talking. It's like a good old time, and out of nowhere pops up Clark County. And Clark County's, talking with him, and I guess he did a set with them too, and Clark County's manager's there, and that's got a bigger thing that we'll get to too. So they chopping up talking, and Paperboy's looking for some weed because he's trying to get high. He's like, man, you got any? And Clark County's like, nah, but we're going to go upstairs. And at this point, he goes, you guys want to come? They're like, nah, we're just going to chill. But Violet and some of her girls go upstairs, and they go roll up with Clark County. At the same time, two other girls come up and start talking to Paperboy, just kind of talking to him. And Darius and Ern have this great conversation saying that basically the evil Chance the Rapper, Mr. Clark County, is a industry plant to make to try to change the perspective of rap music and what we're allowed to do and what they're to do. They're bringing this wholesome good boy rapper who does everything perfectly, but behind the scenes is really just evil and trying to take out rap systematically. I thought that was funny. They both agree upon it. At the same time, you got Paperboy's got this big smile on his face, and it's a smile that we haven't seen in a while because from last week's Woods, he was having a horrible episode. Who knows how far that was ahead of this point. But he's having a good time just chopping it up, and out of nowhere, a beer gets thrown on his head. And he freaks the hell out. Tracy sees it. I got it, babe. He goes upstairs, and lo and behold, it's this girl, Violet. She got all jealous and dumped the beer on his head. Even though she went with Clark County, she crazy. So this starts this wild chain of events. You got Tracy going back and forth with her, and she's talking mess to him, and he's just like, whatever, don't touch me again. He goes full slow-mo, grabs her by the head, and starts to push her down the steps. Luckily, Ern kind of walks up, grabs her. Tracy goes one way, she falls in his arms, turns around, slaps her, runs back up the stairs to go grab basically dudes from this college, and they want to start to confront Paperboy. So Ern's trying to get him out of there. Paperboy ain't scared of nobody. He's like, man, why are we running? We ain't supposed to be running. He's like, we gotta go, let's go. You can't be performing from the hospital. Ern's trying to think bigger picture. Paperboy trying to be hood, keep it real, trying to take these fools out. He ain't afraid of nobody. So they get out to the courtyard and have this great little courtyard standoff, and you think something big's gonna happen, and out of nowhere you get a flying punch from Tracy, just and crack the dude and telling him to run. And this is where I feel like you get full-blown house party too, because now they're running through the school trying to get out, and they're in full silk pajamas running and freaking out, having a good old time. And it's got this great scene. So they escape, they're all shaking and stirred, but Paperboy's still Jones, and he needs his kick, so he's still Jones, and so he's still trying to get some. So he's mad because he knows that this Violet girl's gonna take his stuff, take his weed, and he's freaking out. So they sit there and like a bloodhound. Darius is like, he starts smelling stuff and he's like, canoil. He's like, I forgot what it was, Camila. I'll get that another time. But he smells it, and this is where this episode takes a whole nother turn. He ends up directing them to this white fraternity in the South, and they are having pledge week. So they're sitting out there and they're smoking. He's got an apple. He's going through an apple, and he's like, oh, that explains it. And they're like, and these dudes freak out that his people are like, oh man, Paperboy, and they're like freaking out that he sees him. He's like, I mean, you guys got weed? He's like, oh hell yeah, and he hands him like a backwoods blend. He's like, oh snap, you guys got backwoods? He's like, yeah, we got everything inside. He goes, you mind? He goes, hell yeah, Paperboy, we'll smoke you out. And so he's excited beyond belief, but you can see in Ern and Darius's face, I don't really know what's gonna really happen. At least in Ern's face, you know what's happened. And this is where you kick to probably, to me, the scene-stealing scene of the entire season, and one of the most awkward and hilarious situations I've ever seen in a television show, let alone just in anything. I mean, this is amazing. So you get the four guys sitting on a couch chilling, they smoking, they having a good old time. You get a little pan out. You see a ginormous Confederate flag behind them. That already is checkmark number one. Then you got these two goofy white boys. You got one who's just enamored with them, and another one who's acting real chill. But at the same time, in front of them are two rows of guys, butt naked, 5 in a row, with bags over their heads, pledging. You want to talk about one of the weirdest and most uncomfortable situations you could be in, being a brother from the South in this place. I mean, oh man, it was the best. And then the conversations that these people had made it even better. So Tracy right out the back, he can already feel the tension in the room, and he just starts laughing. He just knows. He goes, man, y'all crazy, but I like the way you do things. Darius instantly notices some elephant gun, sparks up a conversation about guns, and him and Tracy go to this ginormous gun room they have, leaving basically Paperboy and Ern and this one funny fraternity guy. So this fraternity guy just starts talking out of nowhere, and he's like schooling on old school Southern hip hop, talking about Pimp C, UKG, talking about all the Southern Houston rap, and really talking about some just fly, like, Southern rap. And I was like, oh, okay, he knows his rap. And they're like, oh, they're impressed too. And then he comes out and basically says that his favorite song was Laffy Taffy. And I just thought that was hilarious. He's talking about all these great rappers. He busts out with the pop sensation Laffy Taffy. And he says he loves it so much that he sits up and starts playing it. He's doing his little dance on the side. At the same time, he yells at his pledges, hey, we got company. Y'all get up and dance for them. So he makes these dudes butt naked with bags over their head, starts doing the Laffy Taffy. Oh, man. Oh, that was the best. I every time I see that, I just can't stop laughing. So he has him do it for a second. He makes him stop. He yells at him. He turns back to them. And then he acts just so nice and cordially. Would you guys like anything from the refrigerator when I go upstairs? Oh, they're like, oh, no thanks. Okay, I gotta go get them a mud bath. So he yells back at the guys, and they storm out of there for the thing. And it leaves Paperboy and Ern. And this comes to the big head of the whole episode on everything. Paperboy just starts laughing because he can't believe what's going on. And he goes, man, we need to talk. And Ern's like so happy because he thinks he's talking about Tracy. But basically, Paperboy's had to school Ern on his dealings. He's already set him up as a manager at a show where he's not getting paid. Then he makes the accommodations even worse, where he sets him up to stay with a girl from the school to live in their room, and she's a crazy girl. Then everything goes bad because he set her up with this girl, and then actions that happen after the event where they end up in the most weirdest, uncomfortable fraternity in the world in the South, hanging out with these dudes, watching dudes bagged, doing lottie-dottie. I mean, Laffy Taffy. I mean, just full-blown Ern completely trying to get his hustle on, and this plan went nowhere. I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. So he's trying to blame Tracy, and he can't believe it. And this is that whole family and business where family and business don't mix. Ern is taking full advantage that Paperboy is his cousin and trying to set things up, but not really being aggressive enough, I feel, as a manager to really do it. And then Paperboy hits him with that. He's been talking to Clark County's manager, and he goes, you family, and I'm trying to ride with you, but man, this just ain't working. So Ern gets pissed and walks out. that kind of is the thing. You get the next morning, and then this thing just goes to another level. So they get the next morning, the guys are rolling out, they're yawning. They get back to the car, and these girls have already broken into their car, started busting up on all their stuff, of course. Then they freak, and you can see Paperboy's pissed and urges in the background, just like, oh man, because he knows it's about to get worse. So what he's done is already be bad, and now it's magnified to another level because now his car's been broken into. They run up to the quad area, all their stuff's on the ground, all of it, and Paperboy just freaks out, starts laughing some more. He can't believe it. Ern's just trying to quietly do it, and then Ern finally snaps. He sees that his laptop's not in the bag, and he snaps. He goes running up to the doggone door, starts banging on it, yelling at it. Darius tries to come over and talk to him because at this point, they can get out of here and they just have to take their losses. It is what it is. Oh, at the same time, these ladies cut up all their clothes. I mean, he's got these Adidas, and Darius goes, I can't even be mad at that. And they're all jacked up like an accordion. But everything won't be that bad as long as, they don't do any breaking and entering or do anything crazy trying to get their stuff back. All their stuff is on the ground. It is what it is. So he snaps. He ends up hitting the fire alarm, trying to kick the door down. They're all freaking out. They break out running. He finally breaks out running. They get in the car, and then we get to another level. So in the car, Tracy is obviously just loving it because this dude has completely lost it and is not taking responsibility for anything of his actions for this weekend and all this mess he's done. And Tracy is just straight up laughing at him. Tracy ends up stealing one of those old guns from the dudes, and Ern gets all mad at him. Anything Tracy does, Ern gets pissed at it. And he's like, what are you, the campus police? Man, be quiet back there. And finally, Tracy just keeps messing with him. He turns around and acts like he's going to shoot. He's like, man, what you going to think I'm going to do? This is an old-ass gun. Ain't no bullet going to get in there. Ern can't handle it no more. And Ern snaps. He straight out tells Paperboy to pull over. I'm going to beat this fool's ass. We're going to fight right now. And Paperboy's like, what are you talking about? He's like, pull this car over. I'm going to beat this fool. Tracy's just laughing at himself. Obviously, Ern has snapped, and he is using all of the guilt has finally gotten to him, and everything that he has messed up, and he realizes that he's completely screwed up this entire weekend on the trust of Paperboy, and the only way to redeem himself is to beat up Tracy. But he's not using his brain because Tracy just got out of the prison months ago, and I don't know what Ern's thinking. And of course, this thing goes the way you think it would go. He finally pulls the car over. Ern gets out like all heated, thinking he puffed up, thinking he's going to do something. He goes over. Tracy's laughing. He doesn't want to do anything. Ern takes a couple of swings, misses. Tracy hits him once. He goes down. He's all wobbly. Tracy tells him to stop, and of course he don't stop. He gets a lucky punch in on Tracy, and then this is when it finally pisses off Tracy, and Tracy just pummels the mess out of him. Just beats the shit out of him. I mean, that's straight up. Just beats him up. Ern's on the ground. He's all mad. Tracy's all pissed off. They get back in the car, and it's just quiet. Ern's all lumped up in the back, just humiliated. He's at the lowest level. He's guilty for everything he's done. He tried to redeem himself, and he looks even more like a fool. And they just kind of ride out in complete silence. Oh, man. What a great, great episode. This thing was awesome. Had great texture, family and business. Just always trying to run a hustle instead of trying to be a manager and really help out. Ern's trying to, just trying to hustle and do different things and projecting all of his failures on Tracy and then trying to take it out on Tracy and end up getting beat up. I mean, just classic stuff. So there you go, folks. There is episode 9, North of the Border. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's come back for next week's episode 10. Also, if you're checking out Unsolved, we're coming to the end there, but I got episode 9 there. And Westworld, I don't know if you're checking out Westworld, but I got season 2, episode 1 right here. All right, folks, until next time. Good night, Ted.